We alone now, and I'm singing a song to you.
All right, you guys, you know what it is. It's episode 35 of War Stories, and without further ado, I'm going to get straight into it. So check it out. I'm not going to mention no dates, no locations. I'm going to keep it generic for obvious reasons, and it's like that. All you guys need to know is that this happened in the 90s, early, mid, late, it don't matter. It happened in the 90s. Now, let me tell you a little bit about what was going on so you guys can understand this. So I'm out there slinging dope. It doesn't matter where I'm slinging dope, big dope. And there was an individual that I ended up working with this cat, and he fell into debt and claims he couldn't pay it back. Now, there's always somebody like that out there, man. Somebody that you try to work with, somebody you try to look out for. This dude was in a financial bind at the time. I fronted him a little bit of dope. For a while, he was bringing money. It was cool. It got to the point where I trusted him, and I started fronting him more and more dope. And then he fell into debt. He couldn't pay it back. Let me just say this, man. When somebody like that falls into debt, it's not my responsibility to chase you down. It's not my responsibility to keep calling you and keep asking you, where's my money? That's on you. It's on you. And when you don't do it, I took it as disrespect. This dude never took the initiative or never made the effort to call me up and say, hey, B, I'm out here. I'm trying to get that money back. Give me another week on me. I'm just, I'm putting you on notice so you know that I'm out here trying. Cool, man. I respect that. I might even, depending on how much dope it is, I might even tell you know what, don't even trip, bro. It's not that serious. But when you don't do nothing, and I'm constantly having to call you and ask you, hey, where's my money? Like I'm some kind of peasant. I gotta, chase you down. I start to take it as disrespect, and that's what it was, man. And let me just say this. This dude was not a Northerner. Make that clear. He was not Norteño. Now, he was from Northern California, and he was Raza. However, he never done any time. He wasn't that type of dude. He wasn't the kind of individual that be into politics or nothing like that. He was like a family man type of cat, a cat that stayed home, laid his fat ass on his couch all day and did nothing. That's the type of dude he was. Maybe if he went to prison or went to jail, maybe he would be a Norteño. Probably would. I don't see him being a paisa, but at that time, he wasn't a Norteño. He just wasn't built like that. This was just a square bear motherfucker, man, that was trying to make a little bit of money on the streets. So, the thing that was the thing about it that, he put me in an awkward position as well, because this dude's in his 40s and he's living at home with his parents. And that's the thing, if you guys don't take nothing else away from this, take this away right here. That's the thing about it. When you're out there in the streets and you're running around with people, that have done time, or you're running around with people that are hooked up or plugged in, and you're living with, family members, you're putting them at risk as well. People are not just going to let you burn them, take their shit, and they're not going to just write off thousands of dollars. They're going to come after you. Sometimes, some people might, they might victimize your family. I'm not one of those individuals. I always looked at it as, I'll call them civilians. I looked at people's families as civilians. They don't got nothing to do with it. They don't got nothing to do with our politics. They don't got nothing to do with that dope I fronted you. That's coming out your ass. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to give you that respect. And I've always operated like that in the past, even to this day. If I'm going to rob your house tomorrow, that's what's going to happen. So anyway, it got to the point where this dude wasn't making no effort to pay. He wasn't calling me, and then he started playing that keep away game. And that's when I was like, fuck it, man. Gloves are coming off. Anything is open now. It's all open. It's wide open. So, me doing a little bit of research, having my ear to the ground, I knew a little bit about what was going on with that individual at that time. And I came to find out that him and his family were going on vacation that week. So basically their house was going to be sitting by itself for the taking. I was going to cash him out and take what I wanted to take. Now I could have robbed this individual. I could have pushed up on him, but I wouldn't have got shit from him. I knew that. I just had to beat him up or worse. So, I decided to hit his pad. I knew that they had a big ass house, and I knew that there was probably something in that fucking house worth some money. They had some kind of valuables up in there. Now, like I said, that was the other thing that was awkward about it, though, is that he lived with his parents. This dude was in his 40s, but he lived with, there's probably like 7 or 8 people total that lived at that house. You guys know how, I mean, man, I've hit pads before where there was some paisas living there, a 3-bedroom apartment. There's like 15 motherfuckers living there, 5 to a room, all in sleeping bags. That's how us Mexicans do it in the hood, man. But anyway, so that was one thing that I struggled with. I was like, man, his family don't got nothing to do with it, but that's on him, man. He put them in that situation. He put them in harm's way. So I got with the homie out there, and I'm like, bro, I'm gonna hit this cat's crib. I need you to roll with me, bro. So that's what we did. Now, I didn't plan on encountering anybody. I didn't think that nobody was gonna be at the house. From what I was told, everybody was gonna be gone. And basically the pad was going to be locked up, and nobody was going to be home. But, that night that we went to the pad, me and the other homie, he had a pistol grip shotgun, a half-sawed pistol grip, and I had a little 38 revolver, a little fucking Saturday night special. And we didn't take those over there because we were burglarizing that house. We took those because that's how we were rolling at that time anyway. I would have had that 38 on me whether I was going to go by that house that night regardless. So that's not why we had our bangers on us. Anyways, so this is the other thing. Now, the house was like, they lived in the cuts, in the boonies, the boondocks, man. This was in a city, but it wasn't really a city. You understand what I'm saying? It was in a city, but it wasn't really a city. Not the kind of city that me and you are used to. It was, so the houses were kind of spread out. In order to get to this dude's house, you had to drive up like a dirt road and go down this windy road. And then it turned, and then you would have to go by one of the neighbors. You'd have to drive like right in front of one of the neighbors' houses and then drive down to the end of a little dead end street or a dirt road, whatever you want to call it. And that's where their house was sitting. The houses were spread out. They were probably like a half mile, if that, maybe like a city block, not a half mile. That's way too much. Probably like a block. Each house was like a block away from each other. So they were spread out. And like I said, in order to get to that house, you had to drive in front of the neighbor's house. So when me and the homie got there, the whole plan is he was going to post up. He was going to sit in the car, because my thing is I didn't want to drive down that dirt road and pull the car up in front of their pad, because common sense would tell me that, neighbors that live in situations like this, that they probably put their neighbors on notice. Hey, we're going to be gone this week. We're going to go on vacation. Can you please just keep an eye open for the house? Nobody's supposed to come by. So if anybody comes through, they're not supposed to be there. So, if we would have drove through there, we would have probably had like minutes, within minutes, the cops would have probably been there. They would have, I'm sure they were looking out for their neighbors. And, living in an area like that, I'm sure they had fucking cameras and sensor lights, floodlights, all that shit. I know I would if I was living out somewhere like that. But anyway, that's the whole reason why we couldn't pull the car in. So the plan was the homie was going to back into where some trees were at and just wait right there. Now, there was like a main street out front. It wasn't a highway. It was there was a main street, and homie had to pull in like that because just in case the cops would have drove by or something. So anyway, the plan is he posts up, I'll go into the house. I'm gonna go into the house by myself. Now I had never been in that house. I went to that pad one time for a barbecue, so I didn't know the schematics or the layout of the house. I think when I went over there for the barbecue, I went in to use the restroom, but it was literally when you go in the garage, it was like right there in front. So I didn't know the layout of the house. So anyway, when I go to the house, I didn't go through the dirt road. I kind of cut through a bunch of bushes and trees and shit. Like I shortcutted it, just cut straight through. And I ended up landing like right in front of the house where it was at. You can kind of see it from like it's not that far deep in. So anyway, I go to the back, I go to the back door, and that's how I ended up getting in. So I broke one of the back windows. It was dark as a motherfucker. I couldn't see shit over there, but I popped the back window. I reached in, I unlocked the door, and right there was a laundry room. That's basically what I broke into, was a laundry room. And then the house right there, there was another door that was locked. I just kicked that motherfucker open and I was in the house. So I get up in the house and, I still showed this motherfucker a little bit of respect by the way that I hit the pad. I could have thrashed that shit. And usually when I'm up in somebody's house and I'm burglarizing the pad like that, I'm flipping everything. I'm flipping the beds, the nightstands. That motherfucker's getting tore up. Worse than they do when you're in prison. You know how the motherfuckers come and search the cell in prison? Hurricane? Shit. See one of my searches, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm dumping the coffee on their personal pictures and the honey and the fucking cereal, all that good shit. But on the real, so I'm going through the pad. I'm showing some respect. I'm not thrashing it. I'm not tearing shit up. I'm just kind of going through shit. But these motherfuckers didn't have nothing. I'm like 3 rooms in and there was nothing. And it's a big ass house. There's a downstairs and there's an upstairs. And like I said, when I hit a pad like this, there's 4 things I'm looking for. There's 4 things I'm always looking for: money, drugs, guns, and jewelry. Those are the 4 things that I'm looking for off top. Appliances and all that bulky shit, that's secondary. I'm not going to be out there hawking fucking old ass stereos and old fucking RCA televisions, Magnavox TVs and shit like that. Maybe a laptop or something like that. But those are the 4 things I always look for. Having to take TVs and all that shit, they're bulky. You got to wrap them up in sheets and lug that shit. So, I'm looking through these different rooms and there's nothing in there, man. Old ass fucking stereos, old ass TVs and shit. Nobody would want that shit. So now I'm like, fuck, man, there's nothing. I can't cash in none of this shit. So I go through basically the whole downstairs, and there wasn't not one thing that I found. I think there was probably like some fucking change in like an office area or something like that I just threw in my pocket. And that in itself was sad. You know what I mean? That's crumbs. So anyway, I get to the upstairs and I start going through the whole upstairs house. Now, like I said, there's probably like 8 fucking people that were living here. I knew that this cat was living there and I knew his parents were living there, but there were literally like 4 other rooms. There was probably like altogether 6 rooms. That's how big the house was. And each one of these rooms had a lock on it. And, they were probably couples. They had like little small refrigerators in there. They were probably like, this is where we're going to put our food, so they can't eat our food out there. And they're probably on that type of shit. But they were like little separate rooms and shit, right? But all of them had fucking straight garbage, man. There was nothing. So I get to the main, what I would assume was like the main bedroom, the master bedroom, where his parents live. And still I don't find nothing. She's, his mom probably had some old costume jewelry. It was all fake. And the thing about it is, when I'm in the house, I wanted to turn the light on bad as a motherfucker, man, because I couldn't see shit. but I didn't want, to alert the neighbors again if they, the other thing, I don't know if I said this in the beginning, but they had dogs. The fucking neighbors had dogs, and those fucking dogs, even though I cut through the bushes quiet, them motherfuckers started barking like as soon as I got out the car. They were on it, man. So when I'm in the house, I can still hear the dogs barking. They're over there fucking making all kinds of a racket and shit. So I didn't want to turn on the light so that I could see. All I did is the most I did was I took a lamp when I was in the main bedroom and I put it on the floor and I turned it on so that it wouldn't really light nothing up. I see you back there, Chewy. What are you doing, boy? Uh-huh. Hey, don't be doing nothing back there, boy. You already know what time it is. Anyway, so that's how I knew it was costume jewelry. There's another one. Odie, what are you doing? Where's the third one at? Where's Trouble? The Trouble, Gizmo. Anyway, so I turned the lamp on the floor and I'm looking at the costume jewelry and I don't want none of this shit, man. So I put it all back in the jewelry box, put it back up on the dresser and shit. I go in the closet and finally, there's jackpot. There's two fucking safes. Now, there's a gun safe, a big, tall. I know what gun safes look like. It's a big, tall motherfucker. It's probably like four feet tall, and it was probably about that wide. And the area that these guys lived in, it's an area where people go hunting. So I knew that there were probably guns in that safe. I would have bet on it, unless these motherfuckers kept fishing poles in there or something. But it was a gun safe, and I knew that there were probably guns in there. So I'm definitely taking that. The other safe was smaller. It was just a regular safe, but it was a big motherfucker too. One of them big, heavy, probably a fire resistant safe that had two handles on it, double locks and shit. It was a nice safe, but they were heavy as a motherfucker, man. So the big one, not the gun safe, the big one, it was loose. I could move it, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to get it out of there by myself. The gun safe, that motherfucker was too goddamn heavy. And it was bolted to the wall. I shook it and ended up pulling it off the wall, broke the sheetrock. They just had it bolted in to probably to a stud, but I just fucking manhandled that motherfucker and I broke it up. I separated it from the wall. So anyway, I get the other safe and I'm moving that motherfucker. Like I'm walking it. I got to move it slow. I'm just barely from the closet to the bedroom. I'm fucking drenched in sweat because this motherfucker's heavy. It was a job to get that shit from there to the back door. Trust me, man. I was almost to the point where, like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fucking get this out the house. It's too fucking heavy. You guys ever hit a pad? You ever got one of those safes? They're all about the same fucking size. You know what I'm talking about. They're like 300-400 pounds. Anyway, so I end up getting it to the top of the stairs, and I roll that motherfucker down the stairs. Boom, boom, beep, bop, beep, boom, bop, beep, bop. So I got it down to the first floor. I end up walking that motherfucker slowly to the back door, through the laundry room, and I got it now towards the back deck. But now there's no fucking way I'm going to get that from there to the car. So I'm trying to figure out, I need something with wheels, anything. So I'm looking around. I go into the back. There's like a shed. I open up the shed. The burglary gods were with me, man. There's a fucking wheelbarrow. So I get this wheelbarrow and I bring it over to where the safe's at. And I literally had to take the wheelbarrow, dip it onto the front so that it was like the top was laying on the ground, and then I had to push the safe up next to it and then kind of like just push it on top, if you guys understand what I'm saying. I had to navigate the motherfucker to get it on there. Just put it like that. Oh, there's trouble right there. You see him? Gizmo, I see you, boy. So anyway, I got the safe on the wheelbarrow and I end up pushing it out, and to get it from there to the car was a motherfucker, man. Hitting holes in I gotta back it up and keep pushing it forward, and just it was a nightmare, man. Eventually, I get it to the car and we end up putting it in the trunk. And I tell the homie, bro, there's another fucking safe, a gun safe. We got to get it up out of there, man. I said, but we can't, we can't drive the car in there because, again, like I said, if we drive the car in there, as soon as we drive in front of the neighbor's pad, we probably literally got 3-4 minutes, if that, before the cops come. So I'm like, bro, let me go back and let me try to fucking get it on the wheelbarrow and try to get it out the house. And we'll get the car over here at some point, but just stay posted up, bro. So I go back over there. I get the wheelbarrow. I take the wheelbarrow with me. I take it back and I leave it at the back door. I go back upstairs. Now, I get the gun safe. I finally end up getting it off the wall, and my dumb ass couldn't get it. I couldn't get it out of the room. I couldn't even get it by the stairs. And I would like to think I'm a pretty strong dude, man. That's how fucking heavy it was. I was under the impression when I pulled it off the wall that I could at least get it to the back door, or at least throw it down the stairs, but I couldn't do it. The motherfucker was heavy, man. And because of the way that it was long. It was just hard to move. It was hard to move, man. So, when I got to the point where I tapped out and I'm like, I can't fucking do it. I go to call the homie and I got no fucking reception, man. No reception. Fucking Verizon. Or was it Metro? It was probably Getro, man. Anyway, I try to call the homie and there's no reception. When you're living out there somewhere like that, man, more than likely you got to have a fucking a Wi-Fi booster. And in order to use it, you got to know the fucking code. And obviously I didn't know the code. So my phone wasn't getting no reception. I look at my phone, I got no fucking bars, man. Now I'm thinking, man, I got bad luck. The burglary guys were with me for a minute, but now they just turned against me, man. So anyway, I go in trying to move this motherfucker again. I get it as close to the top of the stairs as I can, and then I end up going down there all the way back to the car, and I tell the homie, bro, I need you to come fucking help me get this shit out the house, and then we'll figure it out once we get it out. So we go back. Homeboy leaves the shotgun. He ends up leaving the shotgun in the car because, just from moving that first safe, he knew that it was going to be too hard to carry the gun and move the safe at the same time. So it was just creating something else to carry. So he left the shotgun, which might have changed things. It could have had an effect. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, he left it. So we get back into the house and we finally, both of us were able to get that safe down the stairs and out the back door. And once we put it on top of the fucking wheelbarrow, the motherfucking wheelbarrow, it was too heavy. The wheelbarrow's sitting on one fucking tire now, and it's like barely rolling, man. It was hard to just get it like 15 feet. That's how heavy this safe was. The homie's a good sized dude too, man. So we're doing our best to push it out, but it's hard. These dogs are barking like a motherfucker, man. They're barking. All you can hear is these fucking dogs going at it. So we end up getting it out to like where the front is, where that front road was at. And I tell homie to go get the car. I'm like, go get the car, bro. When you come back, just pull it up right here, and we're just gonna fucking throw it in the trunk and we're gonna dip. We got to get up out of here. So homeboy goes back to get the car. He ends up coming back, seemed like fucking an hour later. He comes up and I see the headlights. He comes in and I had told him too, bro, don't fucking that's what you call forethought too, man. Foresight, whatever you want to call it. I thought that he might just try to drive in without the headlights. And I told, bro, don't fucking drive in like that. Drive in with your headlights on, because if you do that and the neighbors see somebody coming in, they're definitely going to know something foul's going on. So I told him, just drive in just drive in, bro. So I see the headlights coming. I see him come, and he ends up pulling the car around. He makes a U-turn, and as soon as he pulled the car in, I want to say that the neighbor had already, for whatever reason, got suspicious, or maybe it was the dogs. Something set off a red flag. Something made him come out the house, because he didn't just walk out when the homie pulled up. He had already had to been out and was walking towards us, because when the homie came in, made a U-turn and pulled the car up to where the safe was, this dude was literally already, like, I want to say he was about 30 feet from us. So homie got out, and we're getting ready to lift the safe up to put it in the trunk. And all of a sudden, somebody shines a fucking, like a floodlight on us. He had a flashlight. And I hear him say, "Hey, who's that?" And as soon as he said that, I fucking dropped the wheelbarrow. I grabbed my 38, and I hear him say, "Identify yourself or you're gonna get shot." When he said that, you ain't got to tell me twice, man. When he said that, we both dropped the wheelbarrow and we both ran for the car. I mean, it was right there, but we jump in the car. But as I'm getting in the car, I don't know if this dude's got a gun. Obviously, he had to have something. He's talking about identify yourself or you guys are going to get shot. So I aim the gun in the direction of the light, and I fire off twice. He turns off his flashlight. Motherfucker was smart, because I couldn't see him. I didn't know where he was at. I'm telling you, it was pitch black out there. So we get in the car, and fuck, we can't even get the other safe. We end up having to leave the other safe. We get in the car, and homeboy smashes off. And as we're driving by, this dude starts firing at the fucking car. He starts shooting at the car. I can hear the bullets hitting the car. Pink, 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 pink. You guys ever been in a fucking car that somebody shot at it? You know what I'm talking about. So we end up getting back onto the main street, and we end up getting away. Now, I'm going to just say this, man. I'd end up hearing that obviously this dude knew that his house got burglarized. It was something that people were talking about for a while. He never said nothing to me, but I had heard that there were people that were saying that he said that he thought I had something to do with it, because he didn't have those kind of enemies, and he didn't have no issues with anybody else but me. And it was kind of obvious, because I stopped pressing him, I stopped calling him, I stopped asking him for my money back. So that was probably obvious to him that I had something to do with it. But the moral of the story, if you guys don't take nothing else away from this story, take away that part about the family. You're out there running around in the streets, you're out there burning people, and you're taking people's shit, you're getting fronted, glovel and shit, and you're living with people that are not a part of that lifestyle. You're putting them in danger. Understand that there's a lot of people that they think different than I think. They'll look at people like, your family, friends, people that are close to you. They'll look at them as potential targets. If I can't get to him, I'm going to get to his loved ones. I've never been of that mindset. Like I said, I've always been of it's always been my way of doing things, as far as like when it comes to people's families. I don't target people's families. They don't got nothing to do with it. They're it's hands off when it comes to people's families, their loved ones, their kids, their mothers, fathers. It's not only disrespectful, but it's just against my personal beliefs. I wouldn't want somebody targeting my family. But there's people that are stupid like that. They don't look at the bigger picture. You're out there burning people and you're doing shit like that. You're bringing your loved ones, you're putting them in a bad situation where something could happen to them because of you, because of your missteps, because of your mistakes. Somebody that's looking for you out there on the streets, where they're going to come? They're going to come to where you lay your head, where you fucking live. And You know, that's what happened in that situation. But at least I gave him that little bit of respect. But regardless to whether, you know, I gave him that respect or not, that's just the way I operated. I've never been about that, targeting other people's families. So, you know, that's something that some of you should take away from this. If you're out there, you're ripping and running, and you live with people that you don't want to get victimized because of your missteps, you know, don't bring that shit around the house, man, or don't be doing that type of shit and be living around other people that are not into that lifestyle, because what you do is gonna affect them. It will have an effect on them. I mean, again, man, if somebody's looking for you, they're gonna come to where you live. And if you got people living there that you care about, that's just, you shouldn't be doing that shit. You know, if you're gonna do that, get up out the house, man. That motherfucker should have got up out the house in his 20s anyway. 40-year-old man still living at home. But anyways, I know this was a short one. I got some other ones I'm gonna try to drop for you guys. I think I'm gonna be doing a live tonight. We'll see. It's been a minute since I got on. I want to open up this raffle for you guys too, because Christmas is just right around the corner. Anyways, this episode 35. This your boy B. This is War Stories, and I'm out.